What if I told you that Netflix's latest drop isn't just about horror sequels and action flicks, but also a deep dive into the human condition? Let's unpack this week's chaos because there's way more going on than just jump scares and Liam Neeson punching terrorists. Here's the thing, Netflix is playing a dangerous game right now. They've got this perfect balance of blockbuster bait and indie gold, and it's fascinating to watch. Take Five Nights at Freddy's 2, it's not just a sequel, it's a cultural event. But here's what really interests me, why do we keep coming back to these horror franchises? It's not just the jump scares, it's the way they tap into our collective anxiety about technology, isolation, and the unknown. And Blumhouse? They're basically the Marvel of horror now, turning video games into cinematic events. But let's be real, this sequel feels like it's trying to be scarier than the first, which is a tough act to follow. What makes this really interesting is how they're leaning into the darker themes of the original, almost like they're trying to prove they're not just cashing in on a brand. Now, let's talk about 8th Grade. This film is a masterclass in subtlety. Bo Burnham's direction is so precise, it's like he's holding a magnifying glass to the awkwardness of adolescence. But here's the kicker. In an era where TikTok and Instagram have turned self-promotion into a survival skill, 8th Grade feels like a relic. It's not just about middle school, it's about the pressure to curate a perfect online persona while dealing with real, messy emotions. And the fact that it's still getting a 99% on Rotten Tomatoes? That's not just nostalgia, it's a testament to how rare authentic storytelling has become. What many people don't realize is that this film is a mirror held up to our current obsession with digital facades. It's a reminder that sometimes, the most powerful stories are the ones that don't try to be anything but real. Then there's 100 Years of Solitude, a show that's basically a love letter to literature. But let's be honest, adapting Gabriel Garcia Marquez's masterpiece is like trying to paint the Mona Lisa with crayons. Netflix's version? It's ambitious, yes, but it's also a gamble. What makes this really interesting is how they're tackling magical realism in a way that feels fresh. The cinematography is stunning, but the real magic lies in the storytelling. This isn't just a show, it's a cultural artifact. And yet, I can't help but wonder, will audiences even stick with it? Because let's face it, the average viewer doesn't have the patience for a 10-hour epic about a family and a town that's literally cursed by its own history. But if they do, they're in for a ride that's as beautiful as it is haunting. And let's not forget In the Land of Saints and Sinners. Liam Neeson's latest action flick is basically the definition of retirement plans gone wrong. But here's the thing, why does this movie exist in 2026? It's not just about Neeson's action hero persona, it's about the way we've normalized violence in entertainment. This film is a throwback to the 1980s, but it's also a commentary on how we've become desensitized to it. The IRA angle? That's not just a plot device, it's a reflection of our fascination with real-world conflicts. And the fact that it's finally hitting the US after being available elsewhere. That's a weird reminder of how global streaming is, and how fragmented it still feels. Now, let's talk about what's actually trending. 72 Hours staying at number 1. That's not surprising, but what's fascinating is how a Lifetime-esque thriller can compete with blockbusters. It's a sign of the times, audiences are craving escapism, even if it's not the flashiest. And the Idaho murders taking over the true crime charts. That's not just a trend, it's a cultural phenomenon. Why do we love true crime so much? It's the same reason we binge Making a Murderer. We're obsessed with the idea that we can solve the mystery, even if we're just armchair detectives. But what this really suggests is that we're collectively fascinated by the dark underbelly of human behavior. It's like we're all trying to understand the why behind the worst of us. So, what's next? I'm curious to see how these releases shape the rest of the year. Are we seeing a shift toward more literary adaptations? Is the horror genre finally evolving beyond jump scares? And what does it say about us that we're still obsessed with Liam Neeson's particular set of skills? One thing's for sure, Netflix isn't just a streaming service anymore, it's a cultural barometer. And if you take a step back and think about it, every release this week is a reflection of our collective psyche. What are you watching? Drop your thoughts below, because the only thing more fascinating than the content is how we choose to consume it.